Welcome to another presentation of Proud Pinoy Entrepreneur, one of our segments where we are always happy to share with you the good news of another exemplary Filipino entrepreneur. This week we feature a company that has been around for almost 40 years in the country and is now also slowly invading the rest of the world with their expertise.
VMV Hypoallergenics is a brand that may not exactly be a household name as we know it. That is because it caters to a niche market and is a brand of skincare products that is purely science-based, which most skincare products are not. The company was started by a lady dermatologist, no less, and her daughter, Laura Verallo de Bertotto, has taken over the reins as CEO and creative director of VMV Hypoallergenics.
My mother started it. She's a dermatologist and dermatopathologist, raised in Bogos, Cebu. And then she went to school in the States and she studied dermatopathology and patch testing and skin allergies and stuff. And when she came back to the Philippines to practice, she was seeing more and more people with contact acne and allergies from products, but she had nothing to suggest. So that research went into the creation of products that went to her patients. And eventually with my father, Glendon Rowell, who's an American businessman, he said, you know, this would be nice to sell. And she was like, I'm a doctor, I can't sell. So their agreement was, okay, she'll just do the formulations and the research, he'll sell it. And that's still how we function today. She sees patients, she does a lot of research into what problems are there, what might be good new mechanisms and ingredients. It all starts here in the research center, and anything that looks promising, then the brand takes forward with clinical studies and sales. But that's pretty much how it started. It's really research and clinic.
The craze about skincare has now reached a fever pitch. So we asked Anna Anastacio, Chief Business Development Officer of VMV, if the company, having been around for so long, can be considered a pioneer in the field.
During that time of the late 70s, when the brand started, it wasn't yet a requirement of Philippine FDA to list down the ingredients of the product on the label. Today it is. But at that time, so imagine when VMV started, there were already many patients experiencing allergies and mostly from the products they were using. Right. So the doctor who started this company, she was worried about what she was gonna recommend, and so that's how it started. That she, made her own formulations because then she knew what it was that she was recommending.
Exactly.
Back then, even the concept of niche marketing was not a popular one. The founders of VMV decided not to cater to the mainstream market, but instead developed a line for a specific niche market. In the beginning, though, it wasn't easy to market.
We had a lot of closet users because, wow, it was so expensive to package them even remotely nicely. So we had some closet users who would put them in different packaging and use it, which is of course not a good idea because then you contaminate the product and whatever. I think in the very beginning, which I think happens even now, we had a big split between people who thought we were manna from heaven and thank you God I can finally wash my face again or wash my hair again or use makeup again or whatever. And then another set of people who are like, ano yan? Is that drugs? Why is it so medical? Why is it so walang amoy? Mga ganyan, right? Over time, what has happened, I'm sure Anna would agree, in the last maybe 10, 20 years, the biggest trends in skincare and cosmetics have been safety, which a lot of people associate with natural, which isn't necessarily the case because you could be allergic to strawberries and it's natural, it's a problem. And the other is efficacy, right? And so we've benefited very much from that because we get a lot of people who really need us and now know how to find us and now know how to really understand the complex sort of proof behind the brand. And then we also get a lot of people who may not need us but want that level of safety and efficacy.
Save the world's skin. That is the company's mission as they continue to do research and product development. Theirs may be a niche market, but they have found and developed their own niche even outside Philippines.
That's a foundation we make, and this is a real customer letter from someone in California. It was like a shaft of light broke through the clouds, a chorus of angels sang, and everything went slow-mo. as I twirl through a field of wildflowers.
Wow.
That's what I mean
how
about,
they feel.
you know what I mean? People who cannot use foundation for 10 years or something, they finally find something they can use, and it's like that. A shaft of light, slow-mo.
These company officers pride themselves in being an ethical company, so they never really aggressively push their products here or abroad.
The nice thing too, though, is, like Anna said, they see the most desperate people. The numbers now are something, in the US, it's 1 in 4 people is allergic to cosmetics ingredients, which is a lot of people in the US. And that number is actually considered low, because usually if you get a reaction from like a cream, you don't see a doctor kagad, right? What do? You throw it away and switch.
Yeah.
So that number is based on people who are so frustrated over and over again that they actually see a doctor, get a patch test, and get recorded. So there are a lot of people in the world. It's growing, right? In that way, I think a lot of the way we market has become easier. Before, there was so much education that we had to do and no one understood it. Now, half our work is done by the bloggers, by the doctors, by the internet. Google has been great to us because people just search, right? And they learn. They have a very, very smart customer. I would say a good 70% of the questions we get online are, I have been tested, patch tested, these are my allergens, what can I use? And then we'll answer and say you can use this, 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 this. This you might be able to use because it's a cross-reactant, it's not exactly the allergen, this is in trace amounts. So our customer service is like, blah, 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 blah. It's really, you know, wrong.
The power of word of mouth has also worked well for them, as satisfied clients recommend the product to their friends and act as unofficial ambassadors of VMV. Now, VMV Hypoallergenics is now in several countries, among them Mexico, the United States, Germany, Singapore, Taiwan, Japan, Canada, Costa Rica, Sweden, and Norway. So how hard was it to market a Philippine product abroad, as asked them?
For one, the Philippines is not really known for quality skincare. So introducing a skincare and cosmetics line coming from the Philippines was something different.
And that wasn't mass market. That was really high science, premium. That was a tough sell in the beginning, for sure.
Slowly, steadily, VMV got published in international medical journals in the US and in Germany. They had no government funding like other countries like Thailand and Indonesia, for example, where the cosmetics industry is getting a good foothold in the international market. Both Anna and Laura now admit there is already a growing interest in the cosmetics and skincare sector that hopefully the government can recognize as a sector that the Philippines can excel in.
For example, there's so much popularity over virgin coconut oil.
Exactly.
And it's from here, you know, so this is the right time for the cosmetics industry from the Philippines to shine. And then we have, you know, we're 7,100 islands. We have so many ingredients indigenous to the country. We can highlight from avocado, gugo, to lawa, to turmeric. You know, but we need to promote that.
And our people, huh?
And our people are
skilled. Our formulators are so good. Our doctors are so good. Our researchers are so good. The Philippines was at one point the leader in Asia in terms of published clinical studies. We were really known as, and I don't think we've lost that necessarily, but I think we might have lost the absolute leadership there. I would love to get us back there.
We asked Laura how VMV got so big when they are actually catering only to a niche market.
For a company our size in the Philippines, if we were in the US, for example, it would be a much, much bigger company. In the Philippines, we're a small country, small market, really, no matter what. And especially in the pricing segment where we are, it's even smaller. But I guess because we started in 1979, there are a lot of relationships that were built and nurtured and loved and cajoled and whatever. So we did manage a certain expansion. But all of that is really people like her, man. I mean, people who know how to make it rewarding for both partners, how to really sort of love that relationship. She just told me, and I will quote this woman, till the cows come home, sales is all relationships.
VMV sells online as well, sell wholesale and retail, and sell through their strategic partners, medical doctors.
In some markets like Mexico, it's primarily through farmacias that will get like the sunscreen. And then in other markets like Sweden, it's primarily professional. In the US, we have all three, so with blood, sweat, and tears, in a nutshell. Growing is hard, man. Like, It's a classic thing that we have to deal with. We're growing out of the Philippines, which is a small market, into global markets. That is expensive and exhausting, and we don't have a huge infrastructure in place where we can hire multiple people in multiple countries. It is a huge challenge.
It is a company that makes a difference in people's lives, and they are proud of this. Their ultimate goal is to make a global conquest because, as they keep saying, they want to save the world's skin.
One of our dreams, maybe you will call it ambitious, is like how Xerox was really attached to the generic photocopying business. Right? People refer to photocopying to Xerox.
Or Kodakan.
O Kodakan. Kodak for the picture, di ba? Photography. That's our dream. Now, when people think of hypoallergenicity, it's VMV.
Right. That's the safety efficacy. Definitely we own that.
Yeah.
There is no one who can touch us there.
Yes.
Safety, there's no one else with over 109 allergens not in a formulation. No one else has what we call the VH rating system, which is like an SPF for skin safety. That's ours, published. No one comes close to the amount of published studies that we have. To get one study published in a peer-reviewed journal is like, it's super hard, right?
Yeah.
And we have over 75. So we own those two areas, period.
And Laura and Anna's advice to would-be entrepreneurs?
Definitely, I would caution any entrepreneur to not buy into all the success stories that are the classic, oh my, the next, take your pick, right? I think outliers will always exist in any industry. The vast majority of businesses that you never hear about that last 40 years, 80 years, 100 years, you will never hear about them. They're not sexy. They're not disruptive. Sorry, that word to me is just way overused. They're not, pressable. But they're there and they're surviving and they're feeding multiple generations of people. So I think definitely if you're going to start as an entrepreneur, you might want to think, okay, what is really going to give me? That's, you know how it is when they say you're dating someone and you have that awesome passion, but you don't want to marry them, right? Because that will kill you.
Yes.
So if you look for the small pilot light where you can count on this person forever.
So you're just gonna be ready for all that failure.
Exactly.
And I think it's necessary so that you get to appreciate the success later on. To remember that we are a third world country. For people who have resources, we have the responsibility to uplift the lives of those around us.
We hope you learned a thing or two from that special feature we have this week on Proud Pinoy. Ms. Laura Verallo de Bertotto and Anna Anastacio of VMV Hypoallergenics, a proudly Filipino company that has successfully gone global.